Hello, my dear students, and welcome back. I know your exams are just around the corner, and this chapter can sometimes feel a little tricky. But bilkul tension nahi lena. We are going to make it super simple. By the end of this, you'll know these concepts perfectly. Chalo, let's begin.
Okay, so let me ask you a fun question. Think about it. The you that talks to your mom at home, is that the exact same you who's laughing with your best friends at school? And is that the same you who talks to your teacher? No, right? We all have these different versions of ourselves. And sociology, it helps us understand exactly why we do that. You know, when you study physics, you use special words like velocity or force. You can't just say fast or push, no. You need precision. It's exactly the same in sociology. To understand our society in a deep way, not just with common sense, we need some super words. These concepts are like special glasses that let us see our social world with amazing clarity.
All right then, let's jump into our very first big idea. Every single one of us belongs to groups. Your family is a group, your class is a group, your colony friends, that's another group. But what really makes a bunch of people a proper social group? Let's find out.
Now look at this definition. Just imagine a whole bunch of people standing at a bus stop. Are they a social group? Not really. They're just there. Sociologists have a word for that. They call it an aggregate. A real social group, like your friend circle, has that continuous chatting, that we feeling, and you all like the same things. You feel like you belong. So you see, sociologists have put these groups into two main buckets, really. First up, we have primary groups. These are your inner circle, your family, your closest friends. The connection is really personal, full of emotion. Then, on the other hand, you have secondary groups. These are much larger, more formal. Think of our school or a big office. The relationships there are less personal and more about getting something done.
And here's one that you know all too well, your peer group, your friends. This is a special kind of primary group. They're all about your age, and let's be honest, what they think really matters to us, right? That feeling that you just have to get those sneakers everyone is wearing or watch that new web series, that, my friend, is peer pressure, and it comes straight from your peer group.
Okay, moving on to our next big concept. I want you to imagine society is like a giant building with many floors. Or maybe like a video game with different levels. Some people start at the very top, with all the power-ups, and others start at the bottom. This whole system of inequality has a name: social stratification. The key word here is structured. This means it's not by chance, It's a system that's built into our society. And it affects so much, from the kind of school we can go to the jobs we can get. It's almost like the starting line in a race is in a different place for different people.
And in our country, in India, we mainly see this ladder in two forms. First, there's caste, which is something a person gets by birth. Your position on the ladder is decided when you're born. And then there's class, which is more about what you achieve in life, your education, your job, how much you earn. So one is pretty fixed, but the other, you can climb up.
Now, this is a very important point to remember, Beta. Our Constitution has made any kind of discrimination based on caste illegal. And yes, things have changed a great deal, especially in cities. But we have to acknowledge that the effects of these old inequalities haven't just vanished overnight. They are still present in parts of our society. Okay, let's bring the focus right back to you. In just one day, you wear so many different hats, don't you? You're a student in class, then you're a son or a daughter at home, a friend in the playground. It's like you're playing all these different parts. Let's understand this with two fantastic superwords: status and role. See, it's so simple, Beta. Your status is just your position. Right now, your status is student, and your role is the behavior that's expected from you. To study, to listen to the teacher. So just remember the simple line: status is what you are, and a role is what you do. We occupy a status, but we play a role. And just like before, status also comes in two flavors. First, we have ascribed status. This is what's given to you. You don't choose it, like your age, your family, things you're born with. Then there's achieved status. This is what you earn through your hard work, becoming the school captain, winning a debate, or one day becoming a doctor. That's all achieved status. But what happens when the rules for two of your hats just clash?
Imagine this. Your best friend's big birthday party is on the exact same evening as your big maths exam. Your role as a friend says you must go, but your role as a student says you have to study. This kind of clash is what we call role conflict. You know, the textbook has this absolutely perfect example. A working mother. She has to manage her role as a mother and wife at home, but also her role as a professional at work. Both roles are demanding and can pull her in opposite directions. Have you ever felt that pull? Maybe between a big family function and studying for a test? That's role conflict right there in your life. Okay, so we've talked about groups and roles, but what stops everything from becoming a total mess? How does society make sure we all generally follow the rules? This brings us to our last big concept today, social control. You can think of it like society's rulebook to keep the game running smoothly. Basically, social control is just all the different ways a society tries to get its members to follow the rules and behave in expected ways. And it's not just about punishment, no. It's also about giving rewards and smiles for doing the right thing.
And this control comes in two types. There's formal social control. These are the official rules, laws, the police, the school rulebook. If you break these, there are serious official consequences. But most of the time, our behavior is shaped by informal social control. A smile from your parents, a frown from a teacher, your friends teasing you, and of course the big one, Sharma auntie kya kahengi, right? That's informal social control right there.
Okay, everyone, pens down, ears up. Let's get into full-on exam mode. The next thing we're doing is tackling a very, very common question from this chapter, so let's make sure we know exactly how to get full marks on it.
So here's a very, very common question, a favorite for the examiners, you could say. What is the difference between a primary and a secondary social group? Usually comes for about 3 marks. Let's see how to answer it perfectly.
Okay, so for full marks, here's how you'll write the answer. Step 1, your first point. Explain what a primary group is. Say that it's small, personal, and based on emotion, and give an example like family or best friends. Step 2, your second point. Explain what a secondary group is. Say it's larger, more impersonal, and goal-based, like your school. And for the third point, you clinch it by stating the key difference. Primary groups are about personal connection, while secondary groups are about achieving a goal. Easy peasy, full marks guaranteed.
And that's it, see? Social groups, stratification, status, role, and social control. These are not just some difficult words for your exam, my dears. These are powerful tools, your sociological superwords, that you can now use to understand your own life and the world around you so much better.
So, I want to leave you with a final thought. Now that you have these new sociological glasses on, what do you see differently? When you're with your friends, can you spot the informal social control happening? When you're scrolling through Instagram, can you see people playing a role or showing off their achieved status? Just think about it. All the very best for your exams. I know you are all going to do fantastically well.